All
Hi,
right.
Sam. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the Town of Ayer Affordable Housing Trust for our meeting for April 13th, 2022. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, in accordance with Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, public bodies otherwise governed by the open meeting law are temporarily relieved from the requirement that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may participate remotely by joining Zoom meeting ID number 818-0509-7403 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Alicia Hersey at ahersey@ayer.ma.us or 978-772-8220 extension 142 prior to the meeting. First item of the business would be to approve the agenda. Did anybody have any edits or changes to the agenda as presented?
I have a question, if I may.
Okay.
I don't see minutes on the agenda. Didn't we do minutes?
I think that I had to do the minutes and I'm not as fast as Cindy. So no, we don't have minutes yet.
That's okay. Alicia, I was just checking my folder of minutes because I do so many minutes for so many different things. Thank you. I have no changes.
If Pat, Cindy, or Colleen, any changes or edits?
I didn't see anything, no.
I have one thing to bring up from CPC, but I don't know that it's really a change to agenda. It's more of an announcement. So I don't know if that has to go on or not, but.
Would that go in new business?
Yeah, we could do it under new business if that.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you got to stick around till the end, Colleen.
With no edits or changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and since we're still remote, we'll do roll call vote. So Member Tillotson, how do you vote?
Aye.
Member Lavin, how do you vote?
Aye.
Member Latimer, how do you vote? Bagney
Aye.
Latimer? Colleen, is it Kreiser?
Creaser.
Creaser, okay. Member Creaser, how do you vote?
Aye.
The chair votes aye, and the agenda is approved as presented. All right, so the next item up would be public comment. And seeing, I believe we only have one person on from the public. Pauline, do you have any comments for this section?
Nope, thanks, John.
All right, thank you, Pauline. Okay, so moving right along, then we will have an update on our rental assistance. I imagine this will be from Alicia.
So it's been really interesting. Many of the landlords have been great and really wanted to participate. And even when I ended up sending out the fire chief and the building inspector to check units to see for safety inspections, and 3 out of 4 of the units that got checked needed new smokes, and they wanted very specific smokes, but everybody's been very happy to just get everything up to speed and make it safe. And so that's always good to see. And really funny is the one Brady Sullivan unit and Devon's Crest passed without having to do anything. So that's good. That was good. And the lead certificate passed. So and I was told it was acceptable. So we do have one problem, which is one of our units. I was having trouble getting in touch with the tenant that had applied. And then the building inspector, even though they didn't get an inspection of it, they knew where the unit was and they drove by it, and it doesn't pass. And so I'm giving them, and this is something I need some input from the trust. I'm giving them a month, maybe even a month and a half to get it up to speed. But when do I pull the plug on that? I've got another application in. does anybody have any input on that?
I just have a question, a clarification. So 3 out of 4 needed updates, and this is a 5th you're talking about? This
Yes,
is
the 5th unit, yes. And they just needed smoke, so everything else they
No, I
had,
understand that. But this 5th unit is the one that,
does not pass. It doesn't have a second egress, things like that.
So do you
and it's-
mind?
one is it?
Yeah, do you mind? Can you elaborate at all on what so you said a second egress, is that?
That's
is
really
that the major
serious.
issue?
Yes, it's a major
That's a
issue.
huge issue, especially with doing rentals like we do a lot with the state. They would not pass that.
No,
They would not, they would give them 10 business days
yeah.
to make any corrections to the unit, and then they move on. So I don't know if we want to give them 30 or 45.
There's
I
no,
just think that's a long time, honestly. I see Cindy saying the same thing. Nope.
there's no point. If they're not going to be able to build a second egress, are they?
They're talking about doing it, and
Oh,
they're,
they are. Oh, okay.
and it's to a second floor unit, and I think getting the unit up to speed is of great value.
Okay. I withdraw my objection.
I don't
So-
disagree that it's a great value. I just think there needs to be some time restraints on it because,
Okay,
you know, in 30 days, then it's, we couldn't get a contractor in time, or, you know, they're still working on it, or now there's a structural question. Do you know, if they're going to go through a window, add a stairway, add any kind of decking, do you know what I mean? There's so many things that can happen.
well, so my biggest concern is, and I don't know how much I want to talk in public, that we're not saying where this is or anything like that, is I keep saying, now you need to go up and talk to the building inspector and pull a permit. And I keep checking in a permit. I've been told that they've got their contractor, but a permit has not been pulled. So maybe I'll put a point where the permit has to be pulled by.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was gonna say. Could that be our 10-day, like, if you hold a
The
permit
permit.
at that point, then we can give you, 30 or 45 days to finish it. But if it's gonna take them a month to pull a permit and then another month to get the work done, that's,
Yeah.
rental assistance that could be helping somebody else.
Well,
So,
that's what I was going to say. During that 45 days, are we providing rental assistance, or are we, is the tenant sort of flapping in the wind, waiting for the landlord to do his thing?
We are not providing rental assistance. The
Okay.
units for us to be involved with them have to be legal units.
So is this has this unit been have they been renting this unit illegally, basically? I mean,
Yeah,
Well, Alicia, is it illegally, or is there like a rope ladder that goes out a window? Is there anything? Because I know they have those ladders that you can just drop down and they're sort of metal. Now, I've
But that
also
doesn't-
seen a house here and there that has a wooden ladder nailed to the side of the house that they're calling it, I know you laugh, Cindy, but they call it a second means of egress. And the
they
town
call
said,
it
it's
a
okay.
second means of egress, but it's not a legal apartment with that.
Interesting.
So I guess I know you're looking for input from us, and you're very, very close to Alicia. I don't want to put it on your shoulders, but I guess the question I would ask is, given all the information that you have, is it better than a 50-50 chance that it'll be rectified in a time period that's acceptable to us or not? That's really the question I would ask. I mean, I do understand pulling the permit, getting materials and getting stuff like that done, but do you think it can be done?
So I was careful to send out with the smokes and things like that, exactly what the fire department was looking for when they replaced smoke certificate, smoke detectors and things like that. And usually they're looking for a pretty high-end one. And so the thing that we have here is I am going to require that it is to the state standards, and to the state standards also means that it's done to the town's building code, which means that a permit's been pulled and it's been inspected.
Yeah.
And so my concern here is I've been working with these people. It took me almost 4 weeks to get in touch with a tenant. And then I was in touch with the owner, and he was like, oh, I didn't realize that he had bought it not that long ago, but didn't check into it. And he was like thinking, oh, I did think that was funny. And I said, well, there was a death in an apartment from fire not too long ago, and we take this seriously,
Mhm.
and we will not participate unless it's a legal apartment.
It also brings to the owner's attention the fact that it's a risk that they probably don't want to take.
Absolutely.
The cost of adding an egress versus giving up your livelihood and fortune to an unfortunate incident is often a very easy decision to make.
And that's what he said to me. And but what I'm waiting for is that pulled permit. So I think that I'll probably give 10 more days to get that permit pulled. And then I'm going to have to tell them that I'm going to move on to the next, and they can reapply.
Yeah.
Once
For the
we
next
get
round, or,
on the second round.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I feel really good about that. I think 10 days to pull a permit, come on, you can do that. And then once that's done, you might want to give them another deadline for the next stage. This might be a case where each stage has to be given a deadline. And so if it's, you've got to have, you said they already have a contractor, but
Yes.
have the work scheduled, certain amount of time to get that done, then a certain amount of time to actually get it done. Each stage.
And I think this is, I think, again, this is one of those things that I know I think I bring it up every time, but it's like one of these learning opportunities for going forward. So like we can propose a solution for this one landlord, but in the future, like, so the next go round, if we run into this, then we say, you have 10 days from this point to pull permits. You have 30 days from the point of pulling a permit to have at least work begin, or have plans submitted for how you're going to get that constructed, and that we cannot start your funding until a certain point, whether the project is complete or whether it's started or whatever that may be. But it should be built into our requirements going forward.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also feel that going forward, if all the work cannot be finished within a reasonable amount of time, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, whatever, that they automatically get thrown into the next round, because it's not fair to other families to leave them, to not be helping them if they've already got a legal unit that will pass.
Mhm.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
And,
But that's going forward. This is our maiden voyage.
right,
Yeah.
can we
And-
think about I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, please go ahead, Pat.
Can we think about in going forward to put a drop dead timeline, okay?
Oh.
So you have 10 days to get your permits. You have 30 days from the date of permit to have the work completed. Because
Yes.
now we're holding up another family that may be desperately needing these funds.
Yep.
And we're sitting there on them because Harry's waiting for Joe to get the stairway, and Tom has to put the door in, but Bill has to come do the electrical, and you know what I mean? So it can get very involved.
Yeah.
I also feel that should count, that from the date that they're accepted, if they're hard to get a hold of, that's not our fault.
Yep, move on.
Move on. Yeah, so if they can't get everything done from the date of their acceptance and their first notification, and that means when you pick up a phone and you try to get a hold of them, not when you actually do get a hold of them 3 months later. That's just not okay.
At the point we didn't have anybody else that needed the
Right.
money.
Right.
So I was really working with them because I did know that they needed it. And two is, as soon as I found out that we could possibly move this forward to a safer legal unit, I that has great value too.
All the decisions were made for all the correct reasons, Alicia.
Absolutely.
And the only thing I might add is, if we're doing something together, you and I don't get back to you in a timely enough fashion, feel free to call me. And I'll say that to people, call me.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ghosting you. It's just things come up in our lives that distract us from what we have to do. I care for an elderly parent. Guess what? There are days when I have to cancel everything and just go take care of that. So, and my clients call me and I say, excuse me, this is what happened, because I can't always reach out to them or people reliant upon me. So that might be the other learning things that has to happen. But I like the idea. I quite honestly like the idea of upgrading the housing stock through these steps, because every land, in my experience in handling rentals, when I was a real estate agent and doing DLEDs and stuff like that, as soon as you explain to them what the downstream problem they have on their shoulders is, the $15,000 DLED looks like a great, 2 empty months, no income for $4,000 and $11,000 a DLED the property. That's money in the bank for them.
Well,
and so
I have to say a big thank you for the building inspector and the fire inspector. They did a great job. And I had put this unit on the list and then I took it off because I hadn't gotten nobody had responded back to me. And so they just went and drove by it anyway. And this is one of the concerns on all this, is that work had been recently done without permits. So that's why I'm a little concerned about this whole permitting thing, because Charlie came back to me and said, Alicia, there's work going on over there and there's been no permits moved.
yeah. and not everyone understands the permitting process.
Yep.
Okay, not every, if you want to move forward on a project and you're using a contractor and the work doesn't require a construction supervisor's license, the homeowner can pull the permit.
Yep.
To keep it moving forward. So there are things that you can do in the process that make it work really well. And at the end of the day, you have an expected permitted job that runs with the title on the property, which creates more value on the property.
So I had a call multiple times from another applicant who hadn't gotten an application in time. And he kept calling and saying, well, I can bring one in. Did I miss the deadline? All this sort of thing. So earlier this week, I called him and I said, just get your application in, because we're going to start moving forward. I said, you don't have to get me all your paperwork quite yet, but I want to see your application. I want to see what it looks like. And then we can know whether you can start pulling your paperwork. I don't want to run him around too much, but we will have a second round, and we might not wait the full year to do the second round. We might have it, 6 months. So I just decided that I wasn't going to wait any longer. So I do have another application, and I think that he definitely qualifies. And I just need to see all his paperwork now. So I'll start that process too.
Right.
I think and I think I would be comfortable with with giving this other landlord 10 business days, pull the permit, and then setting a time frame for construction. Do we say construction to be completed, or at least to show proof of beginning?
Yeah. Well, but the other thing is, if we do a second round and we do it by the fall, then it's not that long to wait.
Right.
Agreed. And quite honestly, Sean, the answer to your question is going to be in the zoning, in the building in Charlie's hands. The work has to be inspected, has to be completed and inspected. And depending on what, and God, who knows what they're gonna have to move. If they have to move plumbing for it, it needs a plumbing permit. If they have to move electrical for it, if it's just punching a hole in a wall, it's structural. It's an in and out. It's a open and closed inspection type thing. So it's a two-trip inspection. So
how do you propose, how would we incorporate that into our requirements? What would the language look like? Granted, we can make it one way for this and adjust it in the future, right?
But the state has code and guidelines on this. I think Alicia and Pat work with these.
We're talking about time. We're talking about timing. We're not talking about how many inspections.
I thought.
Sean is asking, what do we tell this person? And then going forward, what do we tell new applicants? Do they have a month to get it done? Do they have 2? What do you think, Alicia, or Colleen, or whoever?
Colleen, do you want to talk first?
Yeah, I guess I was I don't know about timing, but I think it needs to be whatever we pick as the timing. I think having it inspected and signed off, by a certain, like, I don't know about saying, well, 30 days if it started and then, another, I think we need to pick a deadline for completion.
Mhm.
And 30 or 45 days might be a reasonable amount to pick, but I think the building, to Jeff's point, I think we need to make sure it's totally signed off on by the building inspector by a certain date.
Well,
Because
I won't, yeah,
they could start the construction and it could take another 4 months for them to finish it and get everything signed off, and that's, time wasted. So I think we need a quick turnaround, again, knowing that we can push them to the next round of funding, and hopefully we'll get that funding from town meeting and be able to come up with that timeline for the next round. So I'd vote for giving them a quick turnaround to get it done if they can, and if not, tell them we'll just move them for consideration to the next.
Mhm.
And I think the original, if I may, 10 days to permit, 30 days to complete,
Yes.
a total of 40 linear days.
yeah. So the interesting thing about this, and this is where I fall down on it, the people you're working with tend to be often in crisis.
Mhm.
They're fighting fires everywhere. And so they can drop off, I spent 30 days trying to contact the person who was the first person through the door to apply. At the beginning, the person was there all the time, and then there was no response to email or phone calls for almost 30 days, for a good 25. So and this happens, and it happens for, people can be sick, people, all sorts of things happen. And it's interesting the way this all works out. I don't know. I tend to be more lenient because of that, because you're working with people in crisis often.
I have a lot of sympathy for that, but if there's going to be an every 6-month period, then
Yes,
I don't have quite as much angst about it. It might seem really mean. Well, you can't get a hold of them, then they just have to wait till the next time. Let's say that right now, this is all fine because we only had the minimum number of applicants. But what happens when we have 20 applicants for 10 spots? I'm sorry, I understand about being in crisis, but I also understand that the other people on the list are too.
yep.
And I don't want somebody held up from being helped because someone else can't return a phone call.
Mhm.
That's the harsh realities of
The harsh reality.
assisting people.
I hate it. I hate it.
And
I don't-
also, this right now, it's in the landlord's hand, so it's not even in the tenant's hands, and it's in the landlord's best interest.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
have a tenant in crisis who can't make their rent, to get this taken care of so that this person gets rental assistance. And
Yeah.
so I think this is encouraging the landlord to move
Yes,
quickly and to push things through. I agree. I would feel differently if this was, in the hands of the tenants in crisis to allow some, more flexibility and leniency. But I think the landlord needs to bring the unit up to code, and it's in their best interest and eventually the tenant's best interest to get this done
Yeah.
as quick as we can.
yes, I agree.
Exactly.
Okay,
Will we do that for now and then revisit it for the next round
absolutely.
and decide whether we're comfortable with 10 days and 30 days?
Yep,
Or-
I think that's good. The 10 days have already passed from when I first talked to the landlord about this, but I'm gonna give him 10 days from tomorrow again.
Okay.
Tomorrow,
Yeah,
Can I
and-
ask? Oh, go ahead.
clock starts.
There you go.
I do think when we get through this, the next month, and if we get things funded, that one of our upcoming few agenda items should be really going through what worked, what didn't work, like Sean said, and really start to work on those revisions, step by step of the process. Where do we need to add in more clarity? Because I think that'll be helpful, especially if we are going to post sooner than next winter for the next round.
Yeah, these have all been really good teaching moments.
Yeah.
But so would you say for the other 4 or 3 of the 4, or what, are we on track to begin payments for May, or?
Absolutely. I've cut checks. So this is the other part. I've cut checks for 3 of them. One of them was so far behind that I did cut a check for April because he was willing to take April and because he had so much arrears. So those are all. The only one I haven't cut a check for is one that I haven't gotten it's managed by a company, and I haven't gotten W-9 it. And so I'll be cutting that check at the very end. But I'm going to be sitting with the checks until, a week before the 1st of May and everything's in line. But we're ready to go on 4 of them. And we've got 4 people that are very happy.
Yeah. Pat, did you have a question?
Yes, a quick question. When we're talking about the number of days here, and I just want to be clear because it happens all the time. Jeff, you know this in real estate. Are we talking calendar days? Are we talking business days? Because it's very different. And so when we're talking to a landlord, we need to be clear that we're talking, you have 10 calendar days from today to get this done. You have 30 calendar days, because 30 business days is like 6 weeks as opposed to 4 weeks in a calendar day. So I just want to make sure we're clear about that. I'm not trying to be nitpicky, but
no, it's an important distinction.
It is. And Pat, as you know, when you're filling out offers and stuff like that, you actually put times and dates on them. So I would say 10 consecutive calendar days, followed by 30 consecutive calendar days. Weekends and holidays will fall in. That's how the world works. You might have to wait a day, or town hall may not be open, or Charlie may not be at work on a Sunday. We can understand that, but no, it's a hard and fast 10 days, 40 days.
And I'm going to admit something here. So
Thanks,
in my
Pat.
housing rehab, I have all sorts of letters that are dated and that I send out. I don't have all my reams of different letters for that. So I've been using phones and emails to contact people and to interact with people, because it is faster than letters. I've been, then I copy them, the emails, and make sure that I show that I communicated with everybody, so it's in the file and things. But I can do a standardized, even if it's a standardized email that gets very official. And those are the things that I need to add in, because I don't like to recreate them every single time I have to do it. It's just easier to have standard stuff. And I'll make sure for the next time around I have all of that.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the rental assistance update?
Thank you very much, Alicia. I know this.
a lot of work.
again.
You're doing a
Thank you
great
for your
job.
continued work on this.
None of this was meant by way of criticism. It's just for moving
No, I
forward.
don't take it as criticism. I take it as we're all learning this as we go.
Yeah.
And as you're going along, you say, well, I've got to have them all sign an agreement. Oh, I've got to create that agreement,
And Alicia, I say it all the time. God bless you. You carry a lot of water for a lot of people here, Alicia. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
All right, moving along then, we'll do the application. Our next item is the application for CPA funds and the upcoming town meeting.
Yeah, do you want me to report on this? So
He's going, I was like, is there someone that this was specifically geared towards?
yeah, so it went to a public hearing last week at CPC and was voted unanimously to move forward to town meeting. So the application will come to town meeting. There were some questions around the ability to renew and what that involved, and also how we would track, to make sure that tenants are still in the apartments over the course of the rental assistance period, kind of making sure landlords are accountable. But that really, other than that, there was overwhelming support. And those weren't questioning. It was just more like, okay, things that we should think about, as we move forward.
Well, I move that Alicia has an overnight once a week with each one of them.
And I have to say, I'm sorry I wasn't at that meeting. I was sick. And because I could have answered that. Part of why we write these agreements there's terms of these agreements, and they're out of contract because they sign a contract with the town, both the landlord and the tenant. And once they are out of contract, that means they have some liability. So if they move, it says in in each one's contract that they have to notify me. And I keep a pretty, I'm talking to people about this and just checking in and making sure that sort of thing. But we do have a contract with them. So I'm sorry I wasn't there to explain that.
I probably didn't explain it quite as well as you just did, but I did say that, you were working closely with the landlords and they were agreements that they were signing, and that I felt pretty confident that, you had that under control in your work with the landlords, but
Thank
that
you.
just was something to be aware of in case it comes up at the town meeting, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice.
You don't want to do overnights, Alicia?
And I did for that meeting, and sorry, it was very last minute. Janet had asked me to put together a few slides where I just summarized, the major points of the program. So Janet has those so that if questions come up at town meeting, she'll have a few informational slides.
I was just going to say, who's presenting at town meeting? Is it Colleen?
Janet, no, Janet will present it at town meeting she will present the 4 CPC proposals, but then we'll use these brief presentations that each of the CPC proposals had.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the CPA fund front? Okay. Next item up is the Air Commons, the NOAA update, if there is any, or
There is one.
nice.
So we've been having trouble having enough people who are on this. Carly is working on this because she's zoning board of appeals, and myself. So we had to put off. I was sick one week, Carly was sick another week. So, but we finally sat down. Alan and I sat down with Noah last week. Monday? No, I think it was the end of last week. And they're negotiating another extension on the purchase and sales. Okay, they put a lot of money into this. They really would like to see this project go. And what came forward on this, so one of the reasons there's been some hiccups on this is they lost their major project manager and they haven't replaced him. And so the project has had some hiccups because that happened right before it was ready to go to the state. And so they haven't had a project manager. They've got the director of NOAA, but he's not done project management. He's the director. And they have an assistant project manager who's new to the job, but they don't have a project manager. So just to relieve people, it's not because they're being incompetent or anything like that. They're just between real project managers, and it's kind of a specialized thing. It's identifying projects and bringing them through the whole approval process through the state. And this is the biggest project they've ever done, but they are still very interested in going forward. And what came forward in our discussion was that there is the possibility that the state will waive the appraisal component. And the appraisal component is a difficult one because part of what the state law says is it's got to appraise for what it's worth today without the project that they're talking about, just on current zoning. And if it doesn't, you are not eligible for certain funding. And so that gets into your whole budget and everything like that. What we didn't understand, and that's why they talked about spot zoning and those sorts of things. And we just said we can't spot zone it, that it's illegal to spot zone it. So we're not going to do that. But we were looking for ways to help them out. And then we found out that there is the possibility that the state will waive that. So Alan and I are working with them now to make sure we get all the letters of support we can from everybody out there to see if we can't get that waiver from the state. But beyond that, we set up a timeline with NOAA about some of the things that they might want to do, including they've got to go through the Zoning Board of Appeals. And we're suggesting that they go to CPC and request funds directly from CPC, which is what we had talked about, I think, a number of meetings ago. Now, the question is how much funds, and I have asked them to come and talk to the trust, because I think the trust should be the group that is partnering with them as they go to CPC. So we're talking about possibly in May, them coming and doing a presentation to you. If you'd prefer to put it off to June, I understand. If you want to have some, sessions where you talk about what you think they should be asking, I've got some numbers in my mind of what I think they should be asking CPC. And I can put those forward to you right now if you want. But if you want to do a little bit of, I don't know.
So I'm sorry to jump in. I ask a question.
Yes.
And I know because Alicia and I, we've not chatted in exact numbers in any way, shape, or form about this, but talked about it before. What would so you say that there may be an opportunity, there may be a relaxation of the requirement from the state for the appraisal, is
Yes.
basically what you're saying.
Yes.
And do we have any idea what that relaxation would mean? Would it half the amount of money they're looking for? Would it cut it by a quarter? Do we have any idea what that would be?
I don't think we should look at the money that way. I think that considering what's going on with their costs for the land, the cost of building skyrocketing, the fact that they claim they put over, quite a bit of money into this. I don't want to say it out loud on Zoom.
No, please don't. Yeah. But,
So I think that we should look at it as what is it worth to us to have this project done? What kind of budget do we have to do this? What are we gaining? And so I would say we should list off the things that we're gaining. And that includes 8 Section 8s. That includes 106 units of all affordable. That includes the possibility that they would transfer the back land on Isaac Lane, which might have a building lot for the housing authority. Just start listing those kinds of things, which, I did float that to them, and they said, yeah, you can have we can give you the open space, wetlands too. So, we can even all that sort of thing. And so what is that worth to us?
So I'd be interested if you could go ahead and what are the numbers you're thinking from CPC?
So I'm thinking 500 to 700,000.
Okay, that's lower than I thought, actually. So that's.
Well, some people are saying 500, and I'm saying, we gave to just Habitat 2 units. Each unit got 100,000 for 1 unit. And we're talking 8 Section 8s that belong to the town then, basically.
Right. Which
that alone is huge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I think that, I don't think we want to drain in any way CPC, but I think 5 to 7 and 7, if we end up getting everything we want.
I think the long-term benefits of it definitely justify that.
I didn't want to put you on the spot, Alicia, with the numbers and stuff. It's just we're going to have to go to CPC with a number in mind. Yes. Sean did a great job. You did a great job of asking the question, Sean. Thank you. No, and I think there is value there. I mean, I'm a realist when I may become too factual when I look at things sometimes, Alicia. But I also look at it this way: 100+ units that are affordable in this town will make a huge dent in our need for affordable units. And the state goal of 10%.
So
Colleen?
Colleen- Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
I'm sorry.
mean, my instinct is that it's definite. I mean, that's why we moved to the 3% surcharge so that we could get additional funds from the state. Affordable housing is a priority. And I mean, my instinct is to say we go for the 700, and if they say no, then we're ready to drop down to 500. But I would say I'd like to see us ask for, the higher number, and then it can always be adjusted down if there aren't the funds available. But I do think this is such an important priority for the town, and there aren't enough opportunities to develop new affordable housing. And if this can get going, the town gains so much. So
Absolutely. Before I go to Pauline today, other board member have a question or comment? Pauline?
Thank you, Sean. Just a couple of things. We have 3 Habitat for Humanity homes in Ayer. The first one on Shirley Street, CPC contributed $35,000, and the town waived all permit fees. So I don't know what that actually cost, and it's been 20+ years. The 2 new houses on Central, Alicia, I'm not criticizing you in any way, shape, or form. It was $50,000 each house.
Oh, thank
A
you.
total of 100. And I think, but I'm not certain, the permit fees were also waived. So in all said, it was probably about $120,000. But with that said, what I do want to say is, Alicia, I go along with you for 500. I go along with Colleen for 700. The importance of the fact that these units will be all affordable is what drives this. And, when CPC was first adopted, it was not to provide affordable housing, but to stop development. And we've come 180 degrees. And I think I said that at a prior meeting. So I applaud you, Alicia, for all your actions. And anything I can do to help as a former member, I'm here for you.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you, guys.
So is it all right for me to bring them to the next trust meeting?
Yeah,
I would be in favor of that, absolutely.
yeah. I don't see any reason to put it off.
Do
Colleen,
people have
would you-
ideas of how we might partner with them? Just think about what you'd want. I hadn't even thought about building permits. I hadn't thought about what that's all comes out in the wash because they get lower tax rates and all sorts of things like that. That's part of the project. We might want to have some wording in there. Jeff had talked with me at one point about whether they get the money within when they build the first phase. At one point, are we buying land? Are we buying, units? What you guys need to talk about, what you want to see in that proposal.
I would not be opposed to them if they're willing to come a couple of times, because I think the more that we're able to ask of them, that we could work on this collaboratively, it would be beneficial. And I think that would also give us an opportunity, because we're all like-minded individuals here. But it may take some selling to other individuals in town. And so the more information that we have that we're able to go out and educate other people on, it would be beneficial.
And we're looking to have the CPC application or the CPA application. I always get mixed up on that. Done by the end of July. So I think the sooner we get going, the better.
So our next meeting is going to be offhand. Sorry, May.
I think
Is it
like
May
the
11th?
18th, May
May 11th, Wednesday, the second Wednesday of the month, May 11th.
Okay.
And so, thank you, Colleen. And then after that would be June 8th, which would they be able to do an application between the 8th and the 8th of June and then of July? Or do we want to maybe do a May 11th meeting and add a meeting somewhere? I know we're all got meetings, a lot of meetings, but if we could put another meeting in place, would that be helpful? But I agree with Sean. I agree that meeting them, going through a presentation, thinking through what they have said to us, trying to figure out how that fits with what we've got out here in a community might give us a better opportunity, a better way to explain the project to the community, so they see the benefit of it.
Colleen, I understand that you need the application by September, correct?
I think so.
We were encouraged to maybe think about getting it by the end of July, but that would give us a month to really fine tune it.
Right, because if it's going to the fall town meeting, then it needs to go to a public hearing prior to when the warrants are due, which means it has to come to the meeting the month before that for approval to move to a public hearing. And so I think we would have to get the application done in July so that the first approval step could happen in August, and then the September public hearing before town meeting in October. I don't have all the dates in my head, but that was going to be a question, was, should I bring this, we have a CPC meeting the first Wednesday of the month. So at our May 4th meeting, should I bring up what we're thinking, the amount, confirm the timeline, and just gauge their thoughts? And I think also thinking about what parts of the project CPC can fund. I know that there are some limits on what the money can go towards. And so, maybe I can get a better handle on that from the committee, so that when we meet with Noah, we can also think about what parts, we are able to fund.
That's great.
When is your meeting, Colleen?
It is, I think it's May 4th. Is that the date?
That's the Wednesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first Wednesday
The 4th.
of the month. Yeah.
I just took a look and Googled past town meetings for Ayer in the fall town meeting. It looks like they happen on the last Monday of the month. In 2020, it was October 26th. I didn't find 2021, but it looks like it's late in October, but we'd still need to get it through the public hearing process a month before that, which would be September 26th in that case.
Right. So that would be a September.
Just to give you guys an idea of how the calendar falls. I can't do that without looking at a calendar. So,
well, this year would be the 31st, will be the last Monday of the month.
I promise to wear a tie, like I always do. No costumes.
This is actually helpful, and finding out what you can fund and what you can't fund. And I think would be really helpful.
And Alicia, if Noah wants to send us materials before we sit down, it's always helpful. And when we have an applicant at the planning come to us, if they can send us anything at all beforehand, because it's hard to digest a project of this magnitude in an hour-long meeting or a 2-hour-long meeting, because it gets in details really quickly and some questions. So that I would happily invest an hour or two beforehand looking at anything they want to give us.
And one of the things is they're talking about trying to put this together and make all the finances work. And with this, we're going to work on the appeal for that appraisal simultaneously, but they will probably not close on the property till after town meeting and after the zoning has approved the 40B. So we're kind of doing it all at once. So even though we're going to town meeting to fund this, it's funding a proposed project. It's, that's.
A lot has to happen in parallel in order for it to work.
Yes.
It's just, the function of municipal government is we have specific dates we have to do things on. And so people work along knowing what those dates are and trying to hit them. And sometimes we can't.
Cindy?
So I found the one thing that Pauline brought up really interesting, that whole idea of the all the permits being, the fees being waived. That was something that would never have occurred to me. And we could talk about this at another time, but I really want us to follow up on that. Because that, I don't know how much money that amounts to, but it's not chicken feed. So
How many total units is it, Alicia, in the building?
106.
106. Do we have an average unit size by chance?
There's, you mean square footage?
Yeah.
no, they're different sizes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's
Okay.
some are 1 bedroom, some are 2,
Yeah.
so no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the point is that it's a good amount of money, and I don't know how one goes about asking for that type of waiver, but I'm sure willing to find out.
There's a lot of moving parts to this.
Yeah, actually, Pauline, go ahead.
Thank you, Sean. The first project on Shirley Street some 20 years ago, the fee waiver was directed to the selectmen because the selectmen are the only ones who can do so. The latter project on Central Ave was the same process. Didn't go so smoothly, but that's exactly how that went. The selectmen have the authority over the tie-ins for water, sewer, and such, because you serve as water and sewer commissioners. So that's the process. On a project of 100+ units, gosh, I don't remember the last tie-in fee, but that's an easy math project if somebody wants to look up the tie-in fee, or even check with Charlie.
Great. Thank you, Pauline. Math is scary.
Yeah, no, well, you're welcome, but Ed just says Charlie Schultz.
All right.
Actually, I'm actually looking at those fee structure right now, guys. There's not enough information to answer the question.
Yeah, Alicia, if you could ask them, I would be very much in favor of them coming as soon as possible. So next month would be great.
Okay.
Found it. Okay.
And I think that one of the things that would be helpful is, so I was hoping to write a CDBG grant this summer too, but oh my goodness, I don't know when that's gonna happen.
In your spare time?
In my spare time. One of the good things would be to put together a schedule of what we're talking and what needs to be done on the town side. And just have it running as when we think of something, add it and put calendar dates to it too. So.
Colleen, did you?
Should we, and I know we sometimes do joint meetings with the Affordable Housing Committee. I'm wondering if Noah is coming to our next meeting to present, if we should
It's a very good idea.
meeting so that the Housing Committee also hears the presentation, can give their input, and again, more advocates for the project community.
Can we have it as a trust meeting but request them, if they have a quorum, they have to be in session, don't they?
Yeah, let's just invite them to come as guests rather than make it a joint meeting. That's just a little too.
If they all show up, they have a quorum, and even if it's an incidental quorum, they have to call the meeting under open meeting laws. I can't run into 2 members of the planning board and sit and chat with them at the coffee house.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. And they can do that, but
Yeah.
let's not request it. That's
Okay.
So Alan wanted to request a letter from them for support of the waiver, but he suggested that we have you guys be the, well, he and I suggested that you guys be the town representative to be sponsoring the request for the CPC funds. I don't know if we're going to need a letter from you, but I do think that I was just thinking that there's a lot of moving parts here, and as much as I'd like to keep them up to speed, I also want you guys to be able to be the lead on this. If
When you
you're-
say, I'm sorry, you said you were looking for letters of support from the
No, just from the committee.
the Affordable Housing Committee.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure we knew what we were talking about.
I might
Are
not
you,
be making sense.
will you guys be looking for just for letters from other boards and committees as well? Like,
Yes, and we're also going to be looking for letters from big employers in town.
okay,
Because say our food employers, Nasoya and all those, this is housing for many people that work for them.
absolutely.
So we're going to go to employers, we're going to go to state reps, we're going to go to regional planning. We'll go to everybody and get letters from everybody to support this. And if we can get that waiver just makes their budgets numbers work better.
Okay.
And I'm comfortable. Do you want to do a joint meeting, or do you want to do your decision?
So I guess I have a question. Why I get what your thought that, the trust should take the lead on sort of supporting them on the application and stuff like that. And so but if this is a kind of informational session, the project, I don't know, is it better to just then have us there so we can talk more concrete numbers, or it's better to have it, more open for information purposes and then schedule a follow-up meeting for the, working on the proposal? And I don't know, I don't have a leaning one way or the other, whatever you think will be the most efficient process. If it's easier to keep it as a trust meeting and get into those details while Noah's here, I'm fine with that.
Actually, I'm open. I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer. So whatever people are comfortable with, I really don't think there's a right or wrong answer here. So whatever your instincts as a board comes to, I'm comfortable with whatever you decide. I was just more thinking in logistics of so many people in the room and so many voices, but in the same sense, it is an information meeting. So it's 6 of one, half dozen another.
I have no opinion.
Will we be physically, did we decide we'd be back in person, and would Noah be there in person, or would they be joining us virtually?
Whatever you want.
I think.
I mean, I've got to ask them what they want on that, but
I think we can remain virtual till mid-June.
July, right?
I'm sorry, mid-July, thank you.
Yeah, and I think as a trust board, we decided virtual probably be. If I remember
For
correctly.
some reason, I thought we had said this month we'd do virtual and then May we would start in person, but I'm fine with continuing virtual. And if they're going to be virtual, it's almost easier for us all to be virtual. The hybrid, one person on Zoom and the rest of us in the room can be tricky. So
It was very interesting last week to do a hybrid. I would, so I guess my question is more for like a procedural issue. Like, so if we're going to invite the committee or the housing committee, we would just make it a joint meeting anyways, because if a quorum shows up, then it has to be, so it would just be posted as a joint meeting.
mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fine.
Yeah, probably that's better anyway, just on this informational. And then when you get down to the writing of the CPC request, or what we're going to request to be into that CPC request, that's more nuts and bolts. So that's probably good.
Okay, I agree with that. Sounds good.
So we've got that Noah, May 11th, virtual with and joint.
Yeah.
6:15, I mean, sorry, 6 o'clock, correct?
Mhm.
Usual time, same bat channel.
You
And
people
again,
in-
should somebody reach out to the Affordable Housing Committee to make sure they're on board with joining it?
We meet on Friday at 10 o'clock this week.
Perfect. All right. Any other questions or comments on Air Commons?
I'm excited about it.
Mhm.
Same here.
If I may ask one question, what's our current, how far are we from 10% affordability, Alicia? Do you know
We're
offhand?
dropping, we're dropping.
Well, I
So
understand we're
probably
dropping,
down at, I haven't looked recently. We're probably about 7.3.
and we have 3,500 total homes in the town, I think.
The new ones, we are higher than that. We were at 34. Did we end up with 35,000?
It's somewhere, I believe it's somewhere around 3,500. We'll have to figure this out
Yeah.
because that's the other piece is figuring it out. I mean, we are adding homes all over town.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you.
All right. The next item up would be new business. Colleen, I think this would be probably a good place.
Yeah, so it's just really more informational. So the CPC is in the middle of doing our 5-year plan. And I think some of you were invited to the focus groups around the different areas of CPC funding. But the next step is there is a survey and a public forum, which will be a chance for, the public to provide input, in terms of CPC plans, the town's priorities, et cetera. So I'm going to forward you all a link to a flyer that has a link in it that will bring you both to information about the public forum and also a link to complete the survey. And so we've been asked to share it with the committees we're all on, and then if you can also share it with anyone that you know that might be interested in participating in the public forum or the survey. The more voices we have, the better, plan we'll be able to come up with. So just wanted to let you know it was coming and to ask your help in both spreading the word about it to your, different roles in the town. And also if you're interested in participating, that would be great too. Yeah, Cindy.
Did you have a date for that public forum?
Oh, yeah, sorry. So the public forum is May 4th.
Okay.
And it is at 7. So our regular CPC meeting that month is going to be at 6. And then the public forum will start at 7.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
And
Colleen,
And it will be virtual.
can I ask a question, Colleen, or
Yes.
it's kind of point of clarification. Julie did bring this to the planning board last evening and it was very helpful. And I asked the question because I've seen the request to fill out the CPC survey. Also, there's a survey involved with the forum, and the information I got from Julie was do them both. So it's 2 tasks, people, and the
Yeah.
CPC survey is not that hard. Okay.
All
And
right.
yeah, but I just wanted to make sure because I had seen the CPC survey information, I think at the town hall or somewhere else. And then she mentioned it last night about the forum and I was like, wait a minute, I thought I had taken care of that. So it's great. And I'm really glad you guys are
Two
doing it.
different ways to get some input. And
Yeah.
the forum will be a webinar, but there will also be some opportunity for interactive polling and, question and answer sessions.
All right. I just want to check, Pauline, I thought your hand was up and then it wasn't anymore.
It was, but Cindy asked my question, so I'll leave it at that. But since you asked me, Sean, where, Colleen, do we find the survey? I've not seen it on the website. I haven't looked for it, but if you could tell me where, I will at least make it public to other people.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good question. I know it got posted on social media sites just yesterday. And so I'm assuming it is up on the CPC page on the website now, but I see Cindy Knox is coming on, so maybe she can answer.
It is on
Okay.
the CPC page.
It is.
Yes.
I was gonna say, if you go to the CPC homepage, the second paragraph starts out with the blue words, "This survey will be open until February, May 13th. That is the link that takes you to the survey.
All right, I'll look for it tomorrow. Thank you.
Hey, Cindy.
Yes.
No, sorry. Is there, I don't know, actually, I might have to ask somebody else. Is there any way we could put it under the announcement section on the front page or?
I can do that.
Okay, that would be great.
Yep. I'll take care of that in the morning.
We can highlight it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll make a note of that. So
Yeah.
okay.
Right. All right, great. Thank you, Colleen. If there's no other new business, how about any old business? Oh, Alicia?
Well, I'm just gonna, this is just information. So Ken Martin from the Housing Authority came by my office. And there is some home vouchers for people who are being evicted out there. And so he was looking for people that had contacted us. Do you know anything about this, Sean?
I do not. Is this through like RCAP and Raft or?
I'm not sure that it is because they reached out to housing authorities and things like that. I'll get a little bit more. I was
Yeah.
sending him some names of people that I knew.
I would
but
be interested in, yeah, I have not heard, and nobody I've been working with has like brought this up, but then most of the families I've been working with all went through the RCAP or the Raft thing. So Cindy?
Okay.
What is a home voucher?
It's so you get a Section 8 voucher, which comes from the federal government. This is a program out of a state program, which I am not that familiar with because I haven't worked with this one before. Because as you know, there's a lot of things to do. All I did was write an email and send some names along. But I can do a little bit more research on it.
So is it supposed to be like, these are just additional vouchers that are available for like on a temporary basis or?
I don't have the details on it. We were talking about so many things and he
Yeah.
just said, and I didn't quite understand because I haven't worked with the home program. He just said, at least I get some vouchers. And so I don't know if it's temporary or if it's long-term, but tell you what, how about if I get a little more information for next
That'd
meeting?
be great. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
I'm just not even clear as to what anything about what this is. Is this like money? Is it a place? Is it a place? That they
No,
can-
it is a Section 8 program.
Okay,
But the voucher, if I remember correctly, the voucher is more portable
okay,
than
okay.
like the traditional Section 8. But Pat, did you have?
Yes, there's a program called Home Base, and that's a state-funded program. And not every landlord is like Section 8, a landlord cannot refuse. They cannot say blanket, I don't take Section 8 because it's a federally funded program. And if I'm getting too into this, just tell me to be quiet. But Home Base is a totally different type of program. And there are some limitations on it. So there are some that have time frame limitations, like it's good for, we'll say 18 months, or it's good for 36 months, or it's, so many years. They're different ones that they put out there. But Home Base is just a little bit different and they offer a few different services. The other one is, I think, something that I mentioned before, which is community teamwork. And they sometimes do funding where they'll give, say somebody's behind on their rent, they can apply for funding and they will pay up to $4,000 in back rent that, a person can't afford or can't stay in housing because of owing that. So there's those kinds of things too. So I'm wondering if it's one of those, more of a state program than a federal program.
Yes, this state.
So it could be Home Base.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pat.
They need to
You're
get through
welcome.
that.
Just my
billion-
2 cents.
They need to get through that $1 billion in rental assistance they have.
I hate when I have that kind of money to throw around. I
I
just never know what to
know,
do
and
with
a clock
it.
is running on it. Oh. Okay, any other questions or comments for tonight? If not, I'm not seeing any. I think we all know our next meeting is on, was it May 11th? Is that the date? And we're going to
Yes.
invite the other committee to join us, and Noah. Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I,
You mean seconded?
So
Okay.
moved.
Okay.
whatever I'm supposed to say, I just said it, okay?
All right. I'll do a roll call. Pat,
I.
Jeff,
Aye.
Cindy,
Aye.
Colleen,
Aye.
Alicia. I know you don't vote, sorry. Aye. Anybody else want to vote?
I move that Sean's no longer the chair, but we're already done, so it's okay.
Thank goodness.
Second.
All right. Thank you guys so much. And we are adjourned at 7:13.